Okay, so consumerism and identity. Consumerism, remember, we live in a consumerist culture, so we want more stuff. Okay, always got to have the newest thing, the latest thing, and more of it. Um, so there's not, an unendingly diverse set of identities for citizens for us to step into. There still are lots of social expectations. And then these are sort of like the leftovers from the traditions which we're gradually sort of moving away from. But in addition, there's capitalism. So think about the fact that America and the UK are very capitalist societies. We want to keep the money that we make. We want to spend it on things. We want our own house. We want our cars. And that has a real influence on how we see ourselves and how we project ourselves and our identity. Because we're strongly influenced by those, okay? Think of all the TV shows that you've seen where characters are living in amazing apartments in New York, or films where the locations are exotic, and you sit there and you're like, oh, I want that. And that's part of the beauty of our capitalist society. The story is, well, if you go to school and you get your A levels and you go to uni, you get a job, you can have a salary, and then you can have a house, and you can have a car, and you can go on holiday, you can do all these things, but you've got to do these things first. There's no other option. So that story is going to impact how your identity is formed. So it's a struggle, it can be a struggle against these commercial influences. So commodities are essentially just other types of things. So media products are commodities. There's something to be sold and something to be traded and something to be invested in. So he's saying that it's hard to create an authentic identity because of the society that we live in, and because it's so capitalist. It's all predicated on the fact that we are born into a society where the focus is not on world peace and love and environmentalism. It's on make sure that you've got your Beats headphones and your Nike trainers and your Juicy Couture tracksuit. So it's hard to actually be an individual and be authentic. But being a reflexive citizen, which we all are, someone who thinks and questions society and the media, will question this. So we've got a bit more of a chance of being an individual and not a total sheep. So this moves on to lifestyle. And consumerism, yes, it is. It's a clear way in which we project a lifestyle. The type of house you have, the type of decoration you have in your bedroom, the colour of your walls, the pictures on your walls, and what you decorate your house with. It's all about lifestyle. So it's not just a matter of having money, but it does, does help. But you have got different groups with different possibilities to have a particular lifestyle. So, you might have the gangster lifestyle, which is less glamorous than it's represented on African American music videos. And, the rap genre presents it as thug life, but actually it's horrific. So it also is affected, again, by your ideology. So I hope you remember that. So attitudes, values, and beliefs will impact how you see yourself and your identity, and also how you construct your lifestyle. So then lifestyle can give our personal narratives an identifiable shape. Okay, again, this idea of linking is to communities. So you might have a community identity. I am a white middle class woman, and therefore I understand how we operate in society, and understand the rules and expectations that have been given to me because I'm part of this group. Okay. And it's also part of our story. So where he's saying here, it's a visible expression of a certain narrative of self-identity. Essentially, he's saying that being part of a group actually gives an indication to other people about your story and what your identity is, because you are part of that group. Okay. So it's also got some information here about media and how it presents these modern lifestyles. So just have a look. there's some quite interesting ones because it's about how the media influences your perception of particular lifestyles and perception of particular identities. Okay, so just have a look at that. And then it moves on to, not only can we choose to be, you know, a rocker, a punk, you know, a earth mother or whatever, we can also do things to our body. And there's a huge focus on that, obviously, in the media, you know, changing your actual body itself. At the moment, there seems to be an obsession with tattooing and body modification and more extreme body modification. Maybe it's something about the fact that we're in a society where there's no real individualism anymore, maybe. So people have to go to even more extremes to actually stand out from the crowd. So we've actually mobilized our bodies. We're using our bodies to actually make a statement about our identity. And we're also, you know, thinking about it and controlling it. So you can lose weight, you can add on weight. If you have a look at My Big Fat Fetish on Channel 4, that is about all putting on weight for your identity, for your pleasure. So Channel 4 explores a lot of media texts to do with identity. So make sure that you're having a look at their programming throughout this year, and looking at how they represent different identities. So they just give one last example from American Psycho. It's a fantastic film if you haven't seen it. And it's all this idea about the kind of empty identity of what was called the yuppie in the 1980s. So you could absolutely tell a yuppie by their shoulder padded suits, by the colours of their shirts, by the cars they drove, by the apartments that they had, by where they ate. So it was a very, very strong collective identity. And one of this guy, the character in American Psycho, Patrick Bateman, he's saying that there is no real him. There's just an illusion, and he's just not there. He's acting in this community of yuppies. He's acting this identity. But it's not actually helping him know anything about himself. And there's no understanding that he can get from being part of this group. So how do we find out who we really are inside when you've got so much noise going on from media, from society, from culture, tradition, religion, education? How do you actually know who you are? And that is kind of like the big question and the big conundrum that this aspect of your course and this book is trying to answer.